Is Thursday. Caught one trade today on the S&P and we bagged 120 pips. Closed this one early. I had an instinct that it was time to close. It was mainly because on the Nasdaq, basically on both pairs, I was looking for a retracement into this range, into the discount range, to then push up, but Nasdaq stayed a bit more bullish and came above the top of the range, whereas on the S&P we traded down into the discount area, which also lined up with this hourly fair value gap. That's where I went long to target this range up here, or the top of the range here. But due to the fact that what was it? We had already filled this imbalance. I was, aiming for the top of this candle here, and yeah, I was aware that we could see a reversal, but at the same time, I did still feel like there was a bit of movement upwards, still in the move. This was outside the model, and yeah, as you can see, price did reverse afterwards, completely sold off around from 10 o'clock. So quite lucky, to be honest, quite lucky. Made £116 and 22p on this trade, but I'm happy with it. I can't be mad about it, you know what I mean? But yeah, ultimately my instinct took over there, and I used this price coming back off the top of this range, or the fact that it had already traded above, as my reasoning for getting out. I also traded a bit of a larger position today. I think it was, what was it? Was it like 10, 15? No. 13 maybe. Yeah, so I traded 3.69% risk on this trade. So as I mentioned in a couple of videos ago, I've been looking at adding a bit more risk to my trades, just so if I do want to close early or I do want to take partials, I'm more inclined to do it, just because there's more cash involved. I know that's not really the smartest thing when you say it out loud, but it does make sense in my head. I've found, psychology wise, if I have like a smaller position on, I'm less likely to close it, because of the fact it's like a lower P&L, if that makes sense. So yeah, ultimately as well, as the trades play out, it will just make sense to bump up the risk, and gradually just start growing this account a bit faster. Obviously, that's not to say that I'm not going to remain patient whilst looking for trades. I'm not just taking any trade. I took this trade because it just made sense. It made sense to me at the time. I liked the idea of it. It was initially a 2-to-1, but price quickly moved up out of this fair value gap, the hourly fair value gap. So I just got in. It wasn't a limit order. Some entry, I would have liked it to be, at the bottom of this wick, but it was a little bit higher up. So that being said, getting into the actual move. More framework for the trade, right? Let me just bump this out of there. We look at 12 o'clock, price trades down, expands through London session. We get a big move, and I just couldn't see price reversing at that point. I felt like there was still a bit more to go, maybe another push up on the 4-hour chart. Like I said, I was using both the charts as sort of my gauge for this. I was hoping that, I was thinking, there's an inverse here. We do have this inverse. Maybe we trade up into this, consolidate a little bit, and then continue upwards in line with the higher time frame bullish model taking place. So that was the idea, and then I used the equilibrium of the latest leg up, starting from today, as my gauge of entry, and on both charts it lined up with a higher time frame fair value gap that I was looking for a retracement into, and then a reaction out of, which we did get before price comes down. As you can see, if I'd held on to this, I would have been stopped out, and what was it? How much would I have lost again? So I would have lost 230 quid. So stakes are up a little bit now, but you know, we walk away on the week with 116 quid. That's going to be me for the week. It's something like, I think it's like 1.89% for the month. Yeah, 1.89% for the month so far. I haven't taken a trade since last Monday. So yeah, it's can't complain. You know what I mean? Can't complain. It's good for the month. We're currently, what is it today? The 7th? Yeah, so first week of the month. We'll take it. Not rushing in to get any more trades until it becomes completely clear. I will be going back to my model. Today, this was just what was available. And I felt like, you know, that's probably the play. As you can see, the previous daily high is here, previous daily low is there. You look at the daily chart, you know, it's a bit less likely that we are going to come through the bottom of this candle after trading up above the previous daily high. So, you know, there's a lot of different things that went into this idea for the trade, and ultimately it paid off today. I did get a bit lucky with my exit, but you know, that's what we're here to do. So I would possibly anticipate going into the PM session that we do see price continue back up again, dependent on reaction off this candle here and whether or not price decides to break structure. As you can see, we've got an inverse fair value gap forming. So, you know, say if this candle closes above here, we've got a very clear break of structure with the inverse fair value gap signaling a buy model being put in place, possibly on the hourly chart, to then come up and sweep this previous hourly high. And yeah, either way, I'm not going to be trading that, so it's going to cover me there. In terms of news, bank rates in London got voted to drop today, I think, and that's what's caused the bullish price action up following London session all the way to 6:15, 6:30 New York. And I think it was unemployment claims came in for the 1:30 news driver, which is here, this candle here. So I was watching price trading down, and once that news candle came in, you know, saw this price tapped the fair value gap at first, and I was thinking, ah shit, I've missed the move here. And then, you know, swept out this low resistance liquidity here, and then come back in, tapped this fair value gap on the hourly chart and bounced up before coming back down again. So yeah, ultimately pretty dodgy price action, but you know, it could be worse. It was nice to actually get this win after being out of the, well, after not placing the trade for over a week. So yeah, I think that's going to cover me for today. Not going to trade tomorrow unless the model forms, obviously. And yeah, I'll be back then with a weekly review.